When I began this battle, my soul was so damn fragile. I was looking at life through a fog. I lost my baby girl and they killed my dog. I was laying on the bottom feeling sad, thinking about doing bad things, raging fucking mad. I couldn't understand why I was chosen. Then it led to my raging explosion. I am the one who can make this better. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for my biggest fight. Wrap your kids in the Bible. Wrap your kids in the flag. CPS is from the devil. Y'all know that it's a fact. I'm a father that went to jail. I cherish my daughter. It was nothing when they come for her and me. There should have been a slaughter. Stand with us. Make parenting great again. Abolish CPS. Ambush with the black SUVs. They come armed, they came for me, and they came for her. Stand with us, make parenting great again, abolish CPS. They took her from me, she's across the state. Gone for a year now, taken away. All these people who have written me off, I'm here to show my face and tell you you're wrong. I never was as good as you, and for the record we know that's not true. I'm not trying for a comparison. How dare you, you're embarrassing. I don't wanna be as good as anyone else. I fight this battle, I fight for myself. I am the one who can make this better. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for my biggest fight. I don't care about your judgment, I'm glad you gave us this test. But when your life is over, will your heart sleep quietly in your chest? I've got more life to live. As a matter of fact, it's just beginning. I've been given a challenge and my daughter is waiting. It's a fight I can't walk away from, a new life we are creating. So why you sit there mouth full of hating? Be sure my mind is planning on invading. I've got a war to fight and I'm on. I won't give up, I need to win, this is bigger than you. I don't expect you to understand. I am the one who can start over. It's my job to make things right. I need to pick myself up. It's time for the biggest fight. I won't be left behind. This is the time, I call it mine. Step out of the way unless you wanna play Trump, stand with us. Make parenting great again, abolish CPS. There is no time for bickering. The clocks are flickering. Pick up your weapon and join me. If not, go back to ignoring me. I will be on top, pistol going pop, pop. Money falling from my pockets. You'll still be lying on dockets, so fuck you.
Imagine a place where the natural beauty hides a dark secret. Maine's child welfare system is failing. Maine ranks 4th in the nation for the highest percentage of maltreated children. It also holds the 5th highest share of children in foster care. The state's Office of Child and Family Services is under intense scrutiny for failing to protect its most vulnerable. A shocking federal audit revealed violations in 94 out of 100 reviewed cases. Child fatalities under DHHS oversight have quadrupled from 7 in 2007 to 28 in 2022. This includes causes like unsafe sleep and even murder. Despite a $250,000 audit, systemic failures persist, including poor training and unmanageable caseloads. The government's response has been criticized as too little, too late. Our children deserve better. Join us as we uncover the truth behind Maine's crumbling child protective services. Subscribe to Maine Matters and
I'm, just your average parent trying to do right by my kids. Never thought I'd have to, deal with something like this. It was a regular Tuesday afternoon. The kids' toys were scattered everywhere. Then there was a knock at the door. My heart sank when I saw who it was.
Hello, I'm from Child Protective Services. We've received a report and need to inspect your home.
I didn't know what to do. They wanted to come in, look around, talk to my kids. My hands were shaking. I felt like I was doing something wrong even though I knew I wasn't. But then, I remembered something I'd read online about knowing your rights. I took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry, but unless you have a warrant, I can't let you in." The CPS worker looked surprised. They weren't used to parents knowing their rights. It wasn't easy, but I stood my ground. I protected my family's privacy that day. Remember, when CPS knocks, know your rights. It can make all the difference.
Childhood, growing and developing years of a person. This is meant to be a highly important time to create morals, fundamentals, and skills necessary to be a success. Instead, the trauma CPS creates in these young minds set a path of disaster, and statistics prove it. In nearly 90% of their cases, the trauma is unnecessary. Time is the one thing that can never be given back. CPS takes away moments in life that can't be replaced. The time just keeps going, doesn't mean a thing anymore. They left as children, and it's up to them when they come home if they know who you are. Each second away is time you will never get back and keep getting older.
Studies are leading towards incarceration.
Now comes the honorable judge in the halls of justice, where the Constitution will hold strong, and your rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness will trample CPS for all they have done to your child.
The truth and corruption that's revealed to you is enough to make you sick. This is not America we were sold.
Children are being taken from families at the rate of one a minute. It needs to be stopped.
It's time to wake up and abolish CPS.
What's up, everybody? It's the CPS Punisher here. It is Friday night. As always, we have the chat to the right. We're watching CPS Victims Hunting Justice. I am the CPS Punisher. Jonathan, how you doing tonight, buddy? We're going to have a good night. But what I want to talk about first is this, guys. This is something that's very important, and I just want everybody to understand this a little bit. Let's see. Sorry about that. What's that? Now we're not having a clear picture. What's going on here? What the mess is God's creation here? I don't know what's going on with this picture, man. Mine just went so foggy. Well, anyway, let me try that here. How's that? Did I do it? What just happened? Weird. So anyway, I apologize for that. Yeah, but mine doesn't go. I shouldn't be doing that. At all. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So here's the thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about what all of us do here for the movement. I want to talk about. I'm not talking about just us here at this channel. I'm talking about everybody all the way around. So tonight we were supposed to have a guest. I had hired a guest, not hired a guest. I'm sorry. I had found a woman online that was looking for her granddaughter or her grandson, wants her grandson to get loose. There are cases in the Supreme Court, all of this stuff. So what I had said to her is she wanted me to talk. She wanted my help. She wanted all of this. Well, I said this. I said, well, we chat right here for a little while and we could do whatever, like through here. I said, you could come on the show. Tonight you could be a guest and we could get a whole bunch of stuff, information for you about what you possibly could do and can't do and so on and so forth. I said, or I offer a 30-minute, $50 for 30 minutes of an intimate, just one-on-one, all my resources I have available that we could just pound it out in 30 minutes to see what we can come up with. But that is my time. That is my, using my resources, my everything, some work, maybe producing a document is something. And $50 to get that kind of help isn't that bad, right? So we all need to make a living somehow, some way. Like we have this show here for you guys. It's free. We don't charge anybody for this. We ask you guys help us out a little bit, but we don't ask to charge for this. So there's a reason why we can do that. It's because there are other things that happen along the way. Now, as long as you're not, first of all, not giving anybody things that they want for their money, theft of service, as long as you're not stealing anybody's money and not giving them what they want, as long as people are being forward with you about their costs and so on, when you first initiate a contract with them, if you're going to be an advocate or whatever, and you're going to try to help someone with their stuff. I mean, you're not a lawyer, so you got to walk that fine line anyway, whenever you're helping people with this stuff. So as long as you're not doing these devious things, you're giving people a product that you have said that you will produce for them and you do it. That's not being snooty or being snaky or backstabbing or ripping people off. And even asking people for donations or money to help fund their whatever situation, that's not being sneaky, in my opinion, to people. I mean, what is your guys' opinion? What makes you a snaky, dirty fool if you're in this industry, in this particular group, in this movement, and you are an advocate or you're a news resource or you're something, you're a resource for the people to help people out. What do you guys feel is exactly like a sly move or a distrustful move? Because I hear a lot of people talking about, oh, well, this person, like they got money and they did this for them, or this person did this. Look, if you're sending donations into a person and you're expecting it to go somewhere, then make sure when you send your donations in, you say, like if you send them into us, say, making sure donation goes towards CPSV Hunting Justice for the show for that. Please make sure my money goes towards that and that only. That's a request, and you can do that. I'm not saying that you can do that with just me, but I'm saying you can do that with all of these places that you do to ensure that your money goes to where you want it to. Because like even the Red Cross only puts 8%, I think it was 8%. I think it was like something like that. 8% of their yearly takings back into the programs that they ask you to fund. Because they have so much on the back end that it takes to fund these things, they can't afford it. So like you give $1 and you think that $1 is going to fund the kid in Africa to feed him for some rice, But in reality, only 8 cents of that dollar is going to fund that kid. The other 92 cents is being gone, and it's being stuck in some sort of whatever else they have to have going on for it. And I think there was a lawsuit on that not too long ago, and that's where I learned that whole, you can honestly go ahead and put head down on there, like put your money towards this. We all know that probably it won't be that way, but if it makes you feel better about it, then go for it. And if people really are going to break down and follow the rules, then that's fine. Anyway, back to my story. So this lady, yep. So this lady, and Gunnar just brought it up here, is like the memo line on a check. Absolutely. It's just like on the checks when you used to write checks, it had a memo line on the bottom of it. And you put on there what you needed to, what the money was going towards. That way you had the receipt of it, and you knew exactly where your money and your dollars were being spent. So this woman tonight, she comes on, and next thing she says to me after we have this great conversation, I said to her this, I said to her, hello. Actually, let me, you know what? If I have my phone right here, I'll read it to you. You guys can help me out here because I'm really bummed out. I don't need my phone. I have it right here. I'm really kind of bummed out about this, that this person thinks so little of me, and doing this stuff. Like, it's really upsets me. And So that really upset me that people think that about us, and it makes us, like we as advocates do have to live too. And if, obviously if they're asking you for some kind of stipend to do their services, these guys, or we need it, or whomever needs it, guys. Like there are people that are out there going to different states and countries, and they're traveling. They need help. They need financial help. Everybody can't just, nobody in this movement is rich, so we all need to work together financially to help one another so that we can do this for each other, because we know that the lawyers aren't doing it. The doctors aren't doing it. The caseworkers aren't helping us. The judges definitely aren't helping us. The police departments aren't going to work with us. So we ourselves have to stay together and do this for ourselves. Now, if you're a thief and you're stealing services and you're taking people's money and not giving them something back for it, well, then you're a coward piece of shit. And you do deserve to be, put up on a stake and lost, because this is not the group of people to mess with. These people have, and us people, I should say, have had our hearts torn out from underneath us. We, out of our chest, just boldly, we barely have enough energy each day to wake up. And if you're going to come in here and try to take advantage of those people, well, shame on you, and shall you burn 1,000,000 years in hell. And hopefully God has mercy on you, because I don't think the people of the victims of CPS will. So that being said, I think Gunnar is aching at the bit here. Gunnar, why don't you come on out, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
Hello, Gunnar.
Yeah, we're a lot of us are under attack in many different ways. And that's part of being on the front line of this stuff. I mean, we see all the good, all the bad of trying to help people, trying to educate them, but also establishing some boundaries. And like I said, with some people, hey, that we have no other way. There's other people that say, hey, we love the show and this and that. Well, then support the show. That show, that money, you can designate that. And a lot of that was taken away during the checks where you had the memo on there. That was for what you could designate it for. Even your mortgage, this goes to, you could even put details in there such as so much of this goes to interest, so much of this goes to principal of anything then and above. Instead, when you overpay, they put it on the back end. So you pay more interest the next month. See, there's a trick. Now you went to full digital. See how much power's been taken away from us? With some of this.
Now you have no way of gauging or telling them where your money's to go, or the extra, where to put it.
And that's what we're trying to tell you, the legal aspect of this, because I'm a former business owner, and this is the stuff we had to deal with. as a business owner, of designated funds and this and that, making sure your accounting was in order. That's that way you know what you're looking at when you look at transparency, when you see these reports from the government and what it means. And people say, well, that doesn't matter to me. You really need to understand how those reports work and what they are, because that's the threat, that's the heartbeat of your country, of what's going on in the money. And then you kind of notice, hey, money's getting bled off and we're bleeding over here. That's when certain people come over, hey, something ain't right. Why are we funding stuff that has no success? Or where's this money going for? I mean, they were caught one time with massive, what was it, like $50,000 or something for a toilet seat or something like that, with one of those other era accounting things. When they went that, I think there was other names for it. But those were things that were audited. And I get a lot of people say, hey, at the same time, but there's some people out here saying, listen, this is what we do. And these are our extra services that we're going to share our knowledge. And that's what all we're going to do is we're saying my time is valuable of this. Now, I don't charge for anything. And once again, I've got something else going with stuff like that. In my unique situation, there's not a lot I can do. And I offer a lot of help, but a lot of it is constitutionality and case law. Pointing you in the right direction, making sure that you're getting in the right district, you're applying the case law the right way, giving you that information. We all have our different skills, okay? So, but we also have boundaries. And I think it's well established as saying up front, I'm saying, hey, I take and offer this service as this is where I can go for free. And then anything beyond that, I'm going to charge this amount. I'm still giving you something for free, but it's like one of those things of saying, but I want the whole package. No, there's so much that's called the boundary. And established says, Darren, I don't believe it's wrong whatsoever, especially if you've communicated it and you've made it clear. Everybody wants, so that what you're doing is you have somebody in a mode of panic that is searching for answers, and how dare you, this is my family. This is the psychological warfare, once again, that we keep talking about that CPS does to your family. Puts you in panic mode, you're in flight. You don't know where to fight.
Right.
So then you come to somebody saying, help, this is my family, the most cherished thing that I have. But at the same time, you may not have a lot of resources, so you're searching out for things that are free. But even some people that are paying for attorneys are still losing their ass, and they're all over here going, what the hell's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got both sides of this. Those that can't, or beginning to get an understanding or what to expect, or those that are in the middle of a case of saying, oh God, everything's going wrong, or what the hell is going on? I don't understand this. And then they start seeking out knowledge because they've lacked it. And they just want their problem fixed. They want it fixed now, but they want everybody to understand this is my family and feel like a sense of entitlement. No, we failed to protect our families, and part of it had to do with, public education. They failed to teach us our rights. Those of us that went on to go on and pursue those things or question some of the things that, a lot of these people call conspiracy theorists, especially back in the day about Kennedy. Oh, well, there was no two shooters. It was one man up in the tower, and that was sold all over. But the people called bullshit, and now it's confirmed.
Right.
It wasn't a conspiracy. So how many lies have you got? And then you have to face the fact that a vice president had a president of this country killed for what? What they're revealing now. That's what nobody's getting. And you're getting caught up in some of the corruption, and like you said, most people don't know where they're at, but at the same time, hey, we're willing to help up to a point, but I can't spend all my time on your case. I know it's personal to you. There's about 20 other people I'm trying to help, and you need to respect that time.
Right.
Or other.
And if you can't, and if you need to, if you have to clear your boards for someone to do this, then you ought to feel okay with collecting a fee. I mean,
you're making it a priority in that person's time. Yeah.
Right.
We share enough on this channel with everything we have from different aspects of foster care to CPS to case law to just open platform discussions of current events of how they overlap of what we've been talking about and peeling back the onion. And they're going after these systems one after one, and everybody over here is like, what about CPS? What about DSCFS? All this other stuff, and everybody's kind of this like they've got no patience because every person, this is their priority. But imagine a whole nation of that. That's what most people don't get.
And this is why it's so hard. Right. This is why it's so hard to do the pack it up thing, to get everybody together, because to everybody, their case is more important. And I get it 100%. But you know what, guys? Put it this way. I've made a whole network and a channel so that we can all get together and make everybody else's cases more important than my case. Because don't forget, I've been terminated myself. But I've been able to put this to aside so that we could get a group and we can get a crew and we can push this thing forward and get everybody else to jump on board. I mean, that should mean something to everybody else. They should see that that's the way that we're operating here, is that we're willing to put it aside. And we're not putting, believe me, I'm not putting my daughter aside at all. But, we're able to know and that we can help and we can do a lot better and bigger things with all of us together. And then our cases will come a lot easier if we all just work together. And that's just the thing. It's able to happen. I'm not saying no one's forgetting. You're not going to forget about your child if you go ahead and join in on helping another group. No one, if anything, you're helping them more because now you're getting a sizable thing together that could get results faster, I don't know. It's just a lot. There's just a lot. And that just bummed me out that lady was upset with me. That's all. Because I don't like to be looked at as that.
Well, and we all have our pride hurt. And that's one of the things we've got to watch, that blind lash out anger. That's, that we have to understand. And sometimes it's smarter to retain and hold back than it is to do anything else. Once again, it goes back to things that people weren't taught, that especially a lot of us with strategy, is Sun Tzu's, Art of War. There's a lot in there, guys. These old books, these things they don't want us to read, it teaches you, oh, that kind of makes sense. Oh, that's kind of smart. My enemy thinks he's attacked me once, and part of this the story with Sun Tzu is he's attacked me once. And now he thinks that I'm weak and I'm under his thumb. All that time I'm gathering strength and armament and all this other stuff. And then just, so pitiful, so weak. And I pump him up and we get his pride going. Now he's going to be so arrogant that general and just the general alone will walk down right into a full army.
Right.
Because you're so stupid and you're so arrogant. That's what's happening with CPS. They have gone on for so long now. It's just a matter of time. This is a ticking time bomb. And when this all comes out, people are going to realize the pain. This is a cultural cleansing. Is what it is. This is genocide. This is a form of genocide is what's happening on a bigger picture. Why? They take you out of your home. You played that video the other night there, man. I thought on that, and I just fed on that, and I did a little bit more putting the pieces together. And think of this. If I can take a group of people and I want to really control them, make them desolate, and keep them in a cycle of poverty and this and that. What do? I disrupt their homes. Because people, the statistics automatically say that people that come from a stable home, a stable family, whatever that looks like, a loving, caring family, that their chances of being a productive adult and being less violent and or drug user or some of these other things go through the roof. Especially when we have open conversation. Now, some aspects of religious aspects of organized religion say, well, we have the way over here and this is the other way. That's why you have, 700 different Christian religions and then, so many of this and that and all of them competing with all this stuff with religion. Forget that. That's your own personal choice. That's how you perceive you and your creator. But the thing about America is that's our First Amendment protected right, too. But understand this, the minute I cross the line to shove it and make my will upon you for that religion crosses the Constitution. For all religion. For all people. And we have to keep that in mind when we're doing this. When we hear a lot of people say, well, we've heard that some of the newer terms, but Christian naturalists, I think is the new term. Have you heard that one?
Yep, yes, sir, I have.
So, what's some of the stuff you've heard? Some of the people out here. Let's have that hard discussion, man. Because
right?
This is
look, this is the way I feel about the whole thing. If we're going to talk about this, let's talk about it. As a matter of fact, I just went out and bought myself a brand new King James Bible tonight, right? Because what I like to do is this. Every day when I get up, I'll take it. I have my old Bible right over here, and I'll flip the pages. Where it stops is where I'll read from. And then that's because I'm a minister too. But so I'll read from there. And it's crazy how it will come. It will come. This Bible, man, when you do things like that, it will go right to your life. It will pick the pages right to your life. There's been very, very, very few times that whatever I picked out, whatever story I've picked out of here has not reflected what my life was or what was going on in it or how I was to deal with it. It's pretty crazy. That's what I choose to do. I don't preach on to people. I don't tell people what I learned in the Bible that day. I don't any of that, because one, I don't believe in organized religion. So I feel like that's sinning. Not sinning, but I don't feel like that's what God wanted. God says in the Bible, all you need is me, you, and an open space and someone to witness that you did talk to me. That's all you need. And that's all he wants. So, and I don't believe in crying out the prayers, because these demons that are around here will grab your prayers before they make it up to heaven. How can God hear your prayers through the air if the demons won't grab them? So, like, this is the belief. This is how I believe in this stuff, and the way I believe it. So, and of course, everybody else is probably different. Like some people have never heard of these things that I just said, but they're all here, and it's just how you interpret things. So, that's my take on that one.
Well, and once again, those things work for you. And here's the thing that's wrong with public. Now let's apply this. Public education, one size fits all. Now you're a different human being, and I know you get to your place your way, and the way you do and the way you believe. Now that's different than most any other human being will never believe the same thing all the way, everything through and through. You'll always have one or two things or this that you disagree on, even if it's something as stupid as your taste in ice cream or Coke versus Pepsi, those
right.
type of things. But we're always going to have something that makes us unique, and we forget about that part. And that's the thing I think that we forget with CPS and everything else, is they think this is the way, and this is the only way, that all these things are here and this and that. You forget human nature. Not because you have this. Yes, there are warning signs once they get past a phase of trauma or something in their mind for these people to trigger. They go down the studies, like the chemical studies and everything else of these people that they know have done this shit and worked on them and tested. There's tons of research, and they're spinning off this one little aspect that CPS is, but at the same time, they've used that and perverted it to turn it into a money-making machine. Now we must make all of you comply. Why? Because that destroys your family. You're never safe. You never feel safe. You don't know what home feels like, do you?
You never will again once they take that from you.
Yeah. Which what? Stimulates for some people. What do? They move. What does that stimulate? The economy of buying and selling houses.
Right.
You see how this all works together? And I'm not kidding. Most people, I can't do this. You've caused such a trauma. That and other people, that was my family home. Oh, that house has just haunting memories of when CPS came in. I can never live here again. I have to sell, especially when they get their kids back.
Right.
If it's something major after going through stuff. And so that drives all these other markets to move money. They're forcing you to do what exactly they want you to do.
Yeah.
And then
you know what? I've never, to be quite honest, man, I have never, ever thought of them being able to control the markets with these manipulations. And maybe that is what they are trying to do. Maybe they are trying to.
Is it not cause and effect?
Crazy.
Are these not the true things that happen? I mean, think about it.
Maybe, like this is their way of getting rid of the people that got. These are a way of getting rid of the people that got the houses in the market boom, that couldn't have afforded the houses to begin with, that have been struggling or whatever. So they come and take their kids with them and kick them over the edge. Now they've got a whole market again full of houses that they should have sold to begin with.
Yes, and sell your house. You're in such a hurry to sell your house, you're going to sell your house at a lower price. And everybody in the real estate market knows this because it all gets around in these little towns. So whoever's buddy at the sheriff's office or anything else at these CPS, and that rumor goes around town, because it doesn't take long with this shit, because it's not quiet, it's not this, it's not respectful to your family, it's a full intrusion of your privacy. All by starting off with violating your constitutional rights of they've entered your home. And look at how far they get.
Yep.
And did you hear even the video last night that she was saying, that's what killed me, of if we could just get more in the homes, but at the same time, the damage they did get from in the homes.
Yeah. You know what, man?
That was crazy.
I think we should watch that video one more. I think we should watch that again, and then we'll discuss it tonight. That was such a moment last night after watching that thing. I can't believe I found that. First of all,
that was heavy, man. I mean,
and that. I think every group in this movement should have that as their.
She quit feeling, and what did they do? They gave her a raise. They escalated. Yep. What happens with the CPS caseworkers to get caught or anything else? Well, you can't be on the field anymore. We'll give you a raise because now you're involved. You almost got caught in a crime. You're ours now. This is worse. This is like mafia tactics is what they're using. I mean, think about it. Now you've whacked somebody. You've destroyed a family. You've committed a crime. We can hold that against you. If we turn you in for what you did, we swept it on the road for you. We own you.
Yeah, smile for the cameras, ladies, because you're part of us now, no matter what. Smile for them. You know, that's it, man. That's exactly it. You're absolutely right.
Now you've got kids and you're a single mom. What do you do? Oh. Now you've got something charges with kids and all this other stuff, because you know the other thing is if they get convicted of this stuff, it's also a crime against children. Did you guys know that you can endorse that stuff on your caseworkers when you file on them? A crime against children? You sure can. Then it flip-flops on them. They can't be around kids. They're on that list. Criminally.
Like me.
Criminally. On a federal registry. Not just a state, a federal registry.
All right, here we go.
You gotta know where to fight and what to do.
Yep. And you guys need to really, if you got chaos and everything going on around you right now, take a break and just sit there, turn your TV up, and you guys listen to what this lady says here. This is
Recenter, man.
This is amazing.
This is hope.
This is Nancy Schaefer's, you know.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm just saying, this just reminds me just of her, you know?
Yeah, it's like the next generation of it, but it's like in the system and then woke up.
So among the gifts that Albert Einstein left us was a definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. My work is an interesting example. Child welfare. It's the government business of protecting children. The primary intervention is to take kids from their parents and put them in foster care, and there's a prevailing belief that this is the responsible thing to do for children who are abused and neglected. Now there are 50 child welfare agencies in the country, and the funds to underwrite them are in the billions. It's not a one among them that's reputed to be working well. Awful things happen to children in foster care. Short term, their outcomes for important things like health and education are abysmal. Long term, it just gets worse. Kids that grow up in foster care, overwhelmingly destined for the penitentiary, the morgue, or the child welfare system when their own kids come into foster care. So in response, a parallel effort arose called systems reform. Now, this is the belief that if we could just get government to do child welfare properly, then it would work and everything would be fine. Many more millions of dollars are deployed by foundations to monitors and consultants in an effort to fix things. And yet, we fail. But I was a believer in this fixing thing, and I came to Baltimore. I was back when the agency I run now was considered among the worst in the country, but I knew we could make it work. And we had a good run. Over a 5-year period, we reduced the number of children in foster care by 58%. We reduced the number of kids living in orphanages by 89%. We increased adoptions 59%. We increased the number of kids that left foster care for families by 47%, and we paid all our bills on time. All right? Now, so you could see that as to the matter of whether or not we can make child welfare work, my thirst is quenched. The thing of it is, this kind of success in child welfare is relatively unheard of, so it begs the first interesting question. How did we do that? You're not going to be surprised with the answer. We articulated a mission and repeated it like a broken record. Kids ought to be in families. We used data to drive our work so we could see all the time globally what was happening in our system and also know very specifically which kid needed what thing from us right now in order to get home. And we embraced the practice of accomplishing tasks, one after another. We ran it very lovingly, like a business. So accolades and awards start rolling in, and I really appreciate that, because we fixed it. And now, I run a well-oiled machine that does an outstanding job of taking other people's children. It does it with tremendous efficiency. I regret that this success has not also resulted in us actually helping people. Now, the abuse and neglect is awful for children. It's terrible, absolutely. When we also then take them from their families, we're digging a wound so deep, I don't believe we have a way of measuring it. This dismantling of families, like, it has enormous consequences. Kids that grow up outside of families, they don't master the things that can only be learned in that context, like who to trust and how to love and how to take care of yourself. And that, frankly, does more damage than the abuse and neglect that brought the kid to my attention in the first place. And that's when I understood. The reason child welfare isn't working is because there are children in foster care. It's not that government's doing it badly. It's that foster care is a bad idea. The error is the intervention. And the crazy part is we still believe. We just keep doing it over and over and over and expecting it to work. So that begs a second interesting question. Why would we do such a thing? Let's allow for a minute that the following is true. First, it feels good to save kids. We get a great injection of adrenaline when we rush in, and our brain responds to that stimuli just like we do anything else that feels good. We want more of it. And when we figure out how to keep returning to that good feeling, we start thinking that in and of itself is success, right? We're mistaking something that feels good to us for something that's actually helping other people. Because if it feels so good, we must be doing the right thing. Second, child welfare is an industry. And industries are self-protecting ecosystems. Think about it. The only time the federal government pays me is when I take somebody's kid. And as soon as that kid's in foster care, they instantly become a commodity. And the industry starts to wrap around doctors, lawyers, judges, social workers, advocates, whole organizations. The industry is committed to this intervention, this taking other people's children, because that's what it needs to survive. And it's on autopilot. Now, it's going to do whatever it has to do to stay alive in this industry. To stay alive, it needs other people's children. Third, experts know what to do. We rely heavily on experts to guide our work, and that makes sense. It just also seems notable. One cannot be both an expert and a recipient of this intervention. Now, this puts us at risk of not listening to the people that might know the most about what it is we're doing. Kids who grew up in foster care are a great example. You know what they want? They want to go home. And just to be clear, home isn't an address. It's a state of mind. It's knowing what it feels like to have somebody love you. It's knowing you belong somewhere in this world. That's what family does for you. It's the glue that gives you a chance at a successful life. And instead, we spend decades doctoring, lawyering, social working, medicating, and we didn't give these kids the one thing that they needed. This is the infrastructure of modern child welfare. Despite an overwhelming lack of evidence that it's working, we persist. I suspect what's actually happening is that we have a loyalty to the idea of foster care that's going unchecked. I think if we checked it, we might notice that we're doing a great job of soothing our egos, of supporting an industry, and of listening to experts. And meanwhile, a group of people are being damaged. There's a simpler way of saying that, you know. The socially supported, systematic mistreatment of a group that has a technical term. Oppression. Oppression is a word that's usually reserved for use by good people to describe bad people doing bad things, only it turns out oppression is a tricky devil. It gets us good people unwittingly to pick up its weapons. and to use them in the name of helping when we have the best of intentions in our hearts. Now, there is, I think, reason to hope. If we concede that soothing our egos isn't the same as helping, and that commodifying people is never what we meant to do, and that listening to people who were struggling might have some value, we could use this moment to move forward in a different way. Moving forward, we could align ourselves with existing activities farther upriver that are disciplined about an ounce of prevention. We could find the earliest moment to intervene with a family long before they need a catastrophic intervention like putting their kid in foster care. So little kids not going to school are a great example. When a 16-year-old's not going to school, they're making a choice. When a 4-year-old's not going to school, they're telling you by not showing up that something's not quite right at home. And when we send someone to tap on those doors to talk to parents about the importance of going to school every day and to listen about what's actually happening in that household, we learn fascinating things. Untreated asthma, so fixable. Unstable housing, harder to fix, but it doesn't mean your kid can't go to school. And what if with the smallest of interventions, we turn a family on to the value of school attendance for the duration of that child's academic career, knowing that the number one correlation to high school graduation is showing up? What if instead of waiting and then taking your kid and leaving you to inconsolable grief buried in a bureaucratic maze, what if we act now and instead build a productive citizen? Now, I'm not saying it would mean no kid ever came into foster care. I am saying it could mean that foster care would become an intervention that was rare and brief and wreak less havoc in our communities. I should be clear. This isn't about whether or not we should protect children. Of course we should, and it's important that we do so. It just seems equally important that we ask ourselves, if we really meant to help that abused kid, why'd we wait so late? Really? Why'd we wait till his head was cracked open? Do we really think that act of violence was a seminal event? Or could it be there was a moment earlier on that gave us a warning sign that a family was headed in a perilous direction, that gave us a window into an opportunity to bring meaningful help? The trick of it is, reorienting ourselves in this way, it won't soothe the ego of the giver, and it won't support the foster care industry. We'd have to be willing to give those things up. The cost in dollars of help that's actually helpful, probably high. The cost to the ego of those good people who will no longer get those warm, heroic feelings, probably higher. The cost to the foster care industrial complex, catastrophic. The payoff for families whose kids might now grow up knowing they belong somewhere, who might yet retain the birthright of the family into which they were born, that payoff, priceless. But you know what? If you're still not sure, it's all good. Let's do this. Let's keep doing it just like we're doing it and mark our calendars for January 2024. I'll meet everybody back here in 10 years, and we'll review all the kids that went through this mill and how they all ended up, and then we'll discuss how hard we tried to make it work. And then I will give you the shortest TED Talk in history. It'll go a little something like this. Einstein gave us a definition of insanity. Perhaps we should review. Thank you.
That is a damn powerful speech, man. That is just, I can't believe, I watched the viewers go in and out in the numbers here, and the fact that people couldn't stay in there and watch that and understand this, that just speaks volumes too. I mean, what that woman just said and spoke out about is absolutely 100% right.
Well,
From the adrenaline junkies, from all of this.
Changing it on a couple of different levels. I appreciate she brought this out, but I'm going to look at the dark side of some of it too. What could, once again, your kid is in school, you're pushing for public education. That is a complete failure. Why are you pushing them towards something that is a failed system? Kids are not being educated. I mean, they're not. But what does it do? It gives them more access. I mean, when you listen to that, we need to go beyond. What can we do more? And you learn so much. You hear the trigger words. We learned so much when we got into the homes. But she's having that balance of saying, but what good is it doing us? Because we're already seeing those kids that have come out of the system, that have been in the system, that are now that are your drug abusers, that are your very confused children because they're so traumatized that they don't know how to lash out, or they've been molested by the system and now they're adults. And now what do? They don't know what to do. They get into trouble. Their family, they're torn. These are torn children. What do you think's creating criminals for the criminal justice system? They're creating the problem. They're making the jails full by tearing them from their families. Unless a crime has occurred. Like that child has really been abused where you can meet the threshold of the law of a crime and follow the Constitution through the whole process properly. I have no problem with that. But this shit of making up evidence, forging documents, breaking into houses, and all this other stuff because someone feels you're not doing good enough, or you found out their secrets, then they don't want you to take it and blow the lid off of it. You know, those things, they got to keep you quiet. What do? They tarnish your name. There's a lot of people that has figured out what they're doing, and just because you figured out some part of it, it scares the shit out of them. You know, the quickest way to discredit your the judge to discredit your testimony and everything else when you speak against them is hang a fucking case around your neck or anything that possibly, even if it means breaking up your family. And sometimes they get so used to it because why? Because guess who they did it in front of? Their friends from the bar. Their attorney buddies. You know, you got to remember, a lot of the judges and magistrates sit on the Bar Association as ethics committee and some of those other things to review the other lawyers. You get in the system now? That's just scary ass shit. But who's making the money? The bar. So, oh, wait a minute. Well, it's called the corporation. Yeah, guess what else the bar's involved in? International and corporate law is where they made their money. That's what they were supposed to be doing, negotiating contracts and that, not this other shit. It was never intended under the Constitution. This is all a big scam. And then they poison you with the food and give you the hormones and all this other stuff for the past so many years, and then add that to the mix on top of children that have been kidnapped, and what do they give them? Processed food, the cheapest stuff that they can give them. You know how much stuff that those people that have those kids and all this stuff, what do they buy? They buy all that damn junk food. It has all that processed shit in there, and they give it to these kids that have been traumatized. Here, have a sweet. Here, have this. Here, we'll just do this. They've got here, eat your feelings. What does that teach them? Eat their feelings. Oh, wait.
Yep,
we can't do away with
stuff it in. Stuff it in. Eat the nerve ropes.
Yeah, I mean, you get those traumas cause these things. And that's the thing. Trauma causes us to have instinctual things that we rely on to just survive. Like sugar or caffeine, or other things, that are methods that we have to relax. But we can't normally relax. We just had our whole life structure torn from us. How do you think we're going to react? We're in that total decimation mode. Our castle has been overtaken. We've been breached. You don't feel very secure. I mean, think about it. Once CPS has been in your house, the taint, the stain doesn't go away. It's still in your house. You still remember the day, where you were sitting, everything, move by move by move by move. Everything that was going on during that time, you relive it 1,000 times, like a nightmare.
And the fear that you'll get from being in that same spot again.
Yeah. And so
That'll
you
never
have
be
a
a
choice.
secure place for you, ever. Ever.
Fight or flight. So you fight for it because this is my home. This is my place. This is the place you attacked. But one thing I know that I can do, I can rebuild. And that's something you can't take from me. Because I know that, yes, every once in a while I will be attacked. Whether it's this way, or this way. But understand this, there's going to come a time when it gets better. Even if it takes till you're 18 and then you have to repair from there. With a lot of you people. I mean, there's a lot of lies. There's people as they grow up, they find out, no, mom lied on all this and then all this, and they can't get up there. And then even the daughter will take and turn around and say, I'll testify and do all this. No, mom even admitted to me, and I was told all this, and then it goes into a brainwashing. Then they won't overturn things. Why? Because they have you on a registry. That means they're opening themselves up to liability. You see how they cover their ass? This is disgusting. They'll deny it. They'll deny to hear the fucking case. I've heard several of those. No, my mom lied. I got her on tape, even telling how she got it, just because she wanted more child support to do this and this and that. She played the court system. Was she held accountable? Not a damn thing.
Right.
Criminal
No
activity.
problem. Do it again if she had to. Do it again.
Oh, yeah.
No penalties. None.
And there's even lawyers out there that will tell a lot of these divorce things, hey, claim, some sort of abuse in your relationship. We can get CPS involved. And we'll get you more for the kid, or you'll get the kid, you'll get a majority of the time, or you'll get more of them. Yeah, you'll get them more now. You got more evidence, this, that. No, you're just mad. And that's not right and fair to your kids. Because do you separate that anger? Let's talk some real shit. Is this something to get back at him or angry? And no, those are my baby. This, that. No, it took two of you. And you were working together, but now you realize it couldn't. They're still both part of it. Now, for the deadbeats that don't, yes, absolutely. Charge them, get rid of it. There are pieces of shit on both sides.
Yep.
That's the one who should be paying it, are the deadbeats, but not the people that are wanting time with their children and co-parenting time. We live in a different society. You both can go get a damn job. And you both are on equal levels. You want equal, there's equal. You both go to work. You both come home. You clean, you cook, and everything else for yourself. Maybe you date, whatever else, but you still have the kid for the time you have the kid, and the time you don't, the time you don't. But now it's all on one person, and there's no more split duties. There's no more help. Figure it out. That's life. Now, in some states, yes, there's alimony, which you're talking, a lot of those were done for this and that and whatever, which is where a lot of the prenups came out and this, that, and then that floated over because that state had their particular thing in there because the state was hosing people that were very rich for that stuff and doing big divorces. I mean, even some of those big divorces, even like what Trump went through with Ivanka. I mean, they had to go through some of that, but you know what? You didn't hear them taking and deal with anything back and forth. They had to come to an agreement. And then it just was signed off on the judge. It's terminated. You have to agree to it. If there's not, the judge comes in and splits everything in half legally. Just that simple. Because that's the law. But
and that's why people, CPS is afforded access to your family. If you are married, you sign that paper, you're saying that you have interest, the state has interest in your marriage because you are not going to be able to settle your business yourselves. That's one of the parts of the marriage certificate and signing that. Therefore, you have given state, you requested the state come and be able to judge for you and
what is fair and equitable.
Right. So that's why they have access to your kids once you get married, because you're saying to the state that you are not capable of, you and your wife, if there is a problem between the two of you, you guys are not capable of coming up with a fair solution. So we're asking the state to step in as a forget what's the name I'm looking for there, but
mediator.
The state give you a mediator and to deal with the thing for you. And that's it. That's facts be known, man. That is it right there. Marriage certificates. You guys, when you get that marriage license, my wife and I are married. You will not find a marriage certificate in the town hall. Because we don't need to be married to the town. We don't need to be married to the city. We don't need to be married to the state of Maine. We are married in front of God, and that's what's important, and that's what matters. And we have a little wedding book and all that stuff. But you will not find any book that says it. Can I claim us on taxes? No, I can't. I don't care about that anyway.
That shouldn't matter in your relationship, not a bit.
Right. The fact that God knows that me and her wedded in front of him and requested, all of that's what matters.
And that's in line with your First Amendment rights. It doesn't require you to do that because that is actually what you believe is under God's law. You're placing your contract within God's law of being something there and natural. And for a lot of you guys out there, we've had this discussion over and over again, and this has been addressed. I want to share a quick clip, Darren. This is when people ask the question whether or not, and this is about your constitutional rights and child support. End of discussion after this.
Agency writes the law, then it enforces the law that it has just written. And if it accuses you of violating that law, you have to answer to the agency in a court run by that agency without a jury, and the agency keeps the fines it assesses on you. Is there any more profound threat to a democracy than that? 10 times more laws are written by the regulatory agencies today than by the people's representatives. Americans now have 10 times the chance of being hauled into an administrative law court for breaking an agency regulation than they have being charged with a statutory crime where they have the full protection of the Bill of Rights.
Unconstitutional. He just told you why. It serves its own best interest. So that means everybody in every single state should be. Here's the thing that will flabbergast me, because that comes from Congress calling it that. He's saying, our elected officials are saying in Congress, the ones that write laws, this is unconstitutional. Every single one of you paying child support should be filing whatever motions and everything else and suing the hell out of the damn state for what you've been done and took from. 100%. It was just called unconstitutional on Capitol Hill with reason, because it serves itself. Argument over.
Mm-hmm.
And states are still doing this, even though they know it's fucking wrong. The same thing with CPS and these administrative judges doing and enforcing policy and procedure over their oath to the Constitution. Tick-tock.
Mm-hmm.
Your time is about up. You have been exposed. And right now with this administration, they are on the hunt. And you're praying to justify. And you're doing other things where we're not gonna comply. We're not this, we're not that. Hey, there's one thing about sovereignty of the states, but not following federal law is a breach of your statehood. It's non-negotiable. You signed on the dotted line when you wanted to become a state. And hey, yeah, you're right. You didn't sign your name on that, the original document for statehoods, but you're supposed to abide by that same contract. By law, you're bound to it. If not, it's an act of treason.
Mm-hmm.
That's how far this goes. The gallows are being built. The time is coming. It's just a matter.
Oh, it is.
They've had enough where they're seeing it in the legislature and they're seeing it in Congress. The president has exposed it so much that now Congress is open to it, calling them out from it. Even his executives, the people that report to him, finding mass corruption everywhere. Unconstitutional. This is unconstitutional. This is unconstitutional. The states are getting nervous. How far are they going to dig? How far are they going to dig? As soon as they get towards that Title IV or some of the other things, the right amount of evidence just gets right in there. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
You're done. Then ain't going to be no, it's confirmed what has happened. And then game over. We fully go back to the Constitution 100%. And it will be, let's put it this way, and it shouldn't be, but it will be forced. Because it is the absolute law of the land, and people will be made to respect it. If not, after that, it ain't going to go too well, because that's a whole lot of traitors.
Sure is.
And
man.
understand, this won't be in a court of law. Once you accuse person or peoples of treason, that's a military tribunal, especially when you have the evidence to back it up. And they present it to Congress. This is enough to go to military tribunal. It switches. So you know what Congress then becomes? Your grand jury for a military tribunal. Funny thing, when you know a little bit about that Constitution, don't you? It hurts, don't it? When was the last time the person was brought before Congress for treason? Because you'll notice it does, right? Congress has that power. That's what you have to go through. After that, it's military tribunal. A second thing, there is no that they know you've done it. You're there to answer. Ever heard the term release the Kraken?
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, Darren. Did something maybe, didn't Trump at one time say something about that during the first presidency?
Release the Kraken?
Release the Kraken.
I believe he did.
Does anybody know what the Kraken is?
It's a big sweltering beast from the ocean.
It's also known as the highest military tribunal for treason. The prosecuting attorney for the United States military. For Army CID.
Is it really?
That's who takes and prosecutes. It's not done on American soil. That's what Gitmo's for.
Love to send some
So
ambassadors.
Kraken at this time, the highest ranking officer to prosecute a case. In other words, the U.S. district attorney or the U.S. attorney equivalent of the military. Yeah, that's who you go against. Military law. You're done. So
Cry me a fucking river.
Oh, Darren, did I tell you the best part? Once you're considered actively convicted or you've gone through your grand jury of the Congress of being declared treasonous, you no longer have any constitutional rights.
Yeah.
None. Beautiful thing. They take it very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But we've not taken advantage of it in a long time, and usually it's been a lot of our enemies. It's been a long time since some people have really been held accountable for what has happened in this nation that is now being shown to us.
That's it. Well, Gunner, I think we're at that time, buddy.
Is it that time?
Sure is. You want to do some last words?
No, you're right. Study the Constitution. There's a lot out there you don't know, and I truly believe that we're getting ready to feel a whole lot of freedom that we've never felt before. and eventually working our way back to what the true intention of the Constitution and what it would be like to live constitutionally all across this nation.
All right. Guys, listen. We are putting our pedal to the metal, we're putting our foot down to the gas. This thing is coming to an abrupt stop real soon. We all need to stay together, work together, keep our eye on the goal. The goal is to get the kids home. No notoriety, no millions of dollars for each one of us, no lawsuit, no none of this. The goal is get our children returned home. After that, we will go after the rest. You got to keep your eyes on the prize, people, because it's very easy here to slip down into that little rabbit hole and end up not even where you're supposed to be. You know, one night you're working on this, next thing you know, you're defending this, and you're like, what the hell happened? I'm not even near what I thought I should have been. All right. So it's very easy for that to happen to you. Keep your eyes on the prize, please. It's the only way that this stuff is going to go down. And if you can't figure out how to do that, it's going to be hard. This is going to be very, very hard for you to figure out what we need to do next in this movement. Because this movement's going to start escalating and it's going to go faster. And there's going to be those of you that are going to be called upon to do some things that you never thought that you would have to do. But will you be there and will you be ready when this needs to happen? We hope so.
Play your part.
I'm the CPS Punisher. We're out of here. Have a good weekend, everybody.